Last season, I took a leap of faith and went all in with Turf Titan fertilizer on my lawn. I had such a great experience with the products I used in 2022 that I wanted to use the entire line in 2023 to see how well they would perform. Now visually, the lawn was stunning last season and I was very pleased with it. But now it's time to dig into the data and see just how well Turf Titan fared last season. Stay tuned if you want to see the results. Now I'll preface this video by warning you to be very cautious when you compare year-to-year soil test results and try to overcompensate for things all at once. Soil testing can be a very helpful guide, but if you get too involved with it, things can get very confusing and complicated quickly. Like I said earlier, my lawn was visually stunning last year, so I tried to reduce fertilizer inputs to see what happened, and the lawn responded well. But did the results? Let's dig into it. Now there's three things that I focus on my soil test results, with the first being the soil pH, second being phosphorus, and third being potassium. So why these three? Soil pH is what I consider to be the most important thing, because having acidic or alkaline soil will really hinder your ability to achieve a beautiful lawn. I've consistently struggled with alkaline soil, so I know how important soil pH can be. If you want more detailed information on soil pH, and how to correct it, check out the video I linked in the corner above for more info on that. When you see phosphorus, think root or downward growth. This is a vital nutrient that is essential for root growth and development of the plant. But the important thing to ensure that is if you have phosphorus that's in the ideal range or high, you want to avoid fertilizers that include phosphorus, which is the middle number on your fertilizer analysis in your annual fertilization plan. When you see potassium, think overall plant health. This nutrient is essential to help the plant increase nutrient uptake and synthesize proteins and starches. Now, all three of these nutrients combine to ensure that you have a healthy foundation, which will in turn lead to the start of a beautiful lawn. If you have more questions on soil testing, check out the video in the corner above for more information about where you can get one and how to perform it. Now here's a copy of my most recent soil test. Now I want to stress that I like to look at historical data instead of just one soil test. Now if it's your first soil test, you won't really have an option to do this, but if you have multiples, I suggest tracking them so you can compare results year over year. Now this is just a simple Excel sheet that I've used since I started doing soil testing in 2021, so I can kind of keep a track of what's going on year over year on the soil test. To illustrate why I look at historical data, let's examine a few things. If I compare my 2023 soil test to my 2024 soil test, you may at first glance think, wow, the phosphorus and potassium really took a dive. But here are a few observations that you may miss if you don't compare the historical data trend for at least the last couple of years. Now my first observation on the results when I compare 2024 to 2022 is that the most of the results, with the exception to the potassium, are fairly close to each other. Now it's important to note that during the 2022 lawn season, I focused a great deal on correcting potassium and phosphorus deficiencies in my lawn, and the results spoke for themselves on the 2023 test. So I would consider the 2023 results more of an outlier from what I would typically see. This lawn had seen a lot of neglect prior to when I started soil testing, and this is a testament to how slowly results can take to change. Additionally, the alkaline soil pH could also be hindering some of the nutrient uptake, which could also be impacting the results on the most recent test. In summarizing the results, here's what I can say about using 100% Turf Titan fertilizer last season. I utilized their Lawn 360 plan with minimal inputs, 4 ounces of each product recommended on the plan every 4 to 6 weeks during the season. I also used 1 gallon of their new Lawn Striper iron product last season as well, in addition to their microbial products Thatch Buster and Root Booster. Unlike the prior season, I did not apply any deficiency correcting products like sulfate of potash or fertilizers with extra phosphorus in them. I used strictly the Turf Titan plan. Now, outside of the applications of Lawn Striper I used last season, I made 6 total applications on the Turf Titan Lawn 360 program. In total, I applied 0.31 pounds of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet, 0.06 pounds of phosphorus per 1,000 square feet, and 0.09 pounds of potassium per 1,000 square feet. Given the minimal inputs I put onto the lawn last season, I'm very pleased with how most of my soil test results remain similar to my 2022 results before I started using Turf Titan, especially considering that I was not applying any other deficiency correctors in 2023 like I did the year prior, which also saved me a lot of money. Now, at the end of the day, I take soil test results as a guide. The only thing that really matters to me is that I had minimal fertilizer input last year and the lawn looked visually stunning. I received a great deal of positive feedback from my neighbors and followers here on social media about how impressive things looked last season, and that's a testament in my mind that Turf Titan fertilizer worked very well for my lawn. Now, I would also attribute some of the success of the lawn last season, even though I was using reduced fertilizer inputs, to the microbial properties included in some of the products in the Turf Titan lineup. If you're unfamiliar with microbes or how they can impact soil health, check out the video linked above that I did last season that goes more into detail on that. And for the haters that don't believe that microbes make a difference, just know that Turf Titan has decades of data from their dedicated team of microbiologists and scientists, as well as data they have from their sister company, BW Fusion, in relation to the agricultural industry that proves otherwise. Now, at the end of the day, you can choose to believe me or not, but all I can say is that I had success with Turf Titan last season, and I was so pleased with how my lawn looked, especially with how low the inputs were that we discussed earlier, that I'm going to be using Turf Titan products again on my lawn this season. That said, I'm going to also be adding in some granular options based on viewer feedback for those of you who don't like applying liquid fertilizer, so stay tuned for that. Now, my plan for 2024 is to continue working on lowering my alkaline pH and also work on boosting my potassium levels with some sulfate of potash again this season. I also want to continue feeding the lawn while keeping my fertilizer inputs as low as possible like I did last year and achieve those great results. If you want to follow along with my journey in the lawn this season, be sure that you hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss future updates. I appreciate you watching as always, and I look forward to seeing you next time out in the lawn.